The Braxtons, season 2, episode 4, I believe, 4 or 5. Have y'all been noticing they have been naming the Braxtons shows so far after songs, after Toni Braxton songs in particular? Well, the last 2 episodes, the past episode, which was Unbreak My Heart, and this episode, which is Where Did We Go Wrong, which is a song off her and Babyface's album. What is it? Love, Marriage, Divorce. It's a song called Where Did We Go Wrong? Where did we go wrong? Is it all my fault? My 2 favorite songs off that album is Reunited to the Image of Love and Roller Coaster. When love is like a roller coaster, always up and down. Hey. Love is like a roller coaster, spin me round and round. Something like that. And it goes back around. Anyway, Toni Braxton, living legend. Mama got out of character, didn't she? She said it was a difference between Toni Braxton and Toni Michelle. They look like the same woman to me, but she said that they different. She said Toni Michelle, she's not going to say that she's hood, but she's no nonsense. Toni, we going to go with the hood, okay? Or the projects, whatever you want to say, Toni Braxton. So all the girls are at the table. Tawanda, Tamar, Trina, Toni. And we're talking about the whole thing. Tamar wants to know who gave the attorney her address. She's trying to protect her son. She's a single mother, all the things. And Trina was just like, well, look, my name is not on the cease and desist. So I don't know who gave out your address or whatever. Tamar reveals that her home is not even under her name. So whose name is it under, Tamar? Vince? How does that work in terms of that? I don't know. I don't know how that works. But as far as giving out her address, I mean, is that not public information? I mean, is that not easy to find? I know she said it's not under her name, but is that not still easy to find? And also, you're filming a show. Y'all got to write down y'all information and stuff. And anything that you do, a show, a TV show, a movie, a video, whatever. You need licenses and information. You're flying, your passports, all the information. Anybody can get access to your information, right? I would think it wouldn't be too hard to find a famous person information like that. But also Tamar, I don't know why Tamar don't never look to her team for stuff. It may be your team, Tamar. You hang with a lot of Tamar, I'm just saying. And it also could be the producers. Like I said, y'all filming a TV show. They got y'all information, y'all socials and things. So, I mean, anybody could have got the information. I don't understand. I was confused on how the cease and desist works. And I'm still confused. Because I know that Michael Braxton Jr., their brother, and Ashley's father, the niece, father, I know he sent Ashley a cease and desist. So is that the same cease and desist that was sent to Tamar? So I'm confused. I don't understand why ain't nobody brought up Mikey. Because he's heavily involved in this situation. Because it's pertaining to his daughter. So, I don't know how that works. I really don't. If somebody in the comments could tell me, I would appreciate it. But yeah, it's strange. So they're going back and forth and getting into it. It's just a mess, honestly. It is a mess. Tamar brings up that she made a down payment on Tawanda's home. In 2018, Tawanda admitted to it. Tawanda said it was $35,000. Tamar said it was $50,000 that she gave her. And Tamar said, well, since you got into this accident, you're going to have a little money. So now you could pay me back. She was like, since you acting up now, it wasn't a gift. Now I want my money back. Tawanda, to think that somebody gives you that large amount of money and to think that it was a gift is crazy work. Even if Tamar said it was a gift, I'm sure y'all were cool back then, I guess. So maybe she did say, oh, don't worry about it, sis. You ain't got to pay me back. Me and the kind of person I am, I would still work actively to try to pay that back. At least make some kind of payments towards it, because that's a lot of money. What person in today's world don't need 50,000? I mean, come on. In today's economy, come on. And Tamar Braxton, the Braxtons, they're stars, but they ain't got it like that. You know, they not billionaires and things to where 50,000 is just like 50 cents to them. Like, come on, who don't need? Come on. Where did we go wrong? So it just got real ugly. So then Tamar decides to bring up the fact that Tawanda had access to Tamar's old credit card information. Tamar had been paying 4 years worth of phone bills for allegedly 6 people. Tamar said that it was a 6 people family plan that she was on, and she was paying that phone bill for 4 years and didn't know it from Tawanda. So all the sisters got secrets and mess on each other. So then, of course, to counter that, Tawanda goes, "Oh, well, what you steal? You stole men." And she was like, "What man? Tony's." You know, the clip that we've been seeing. And I guess it's one of Tony's old men because later on in the episode, when Tamar was talking to the producer, OG, she brought up the fact that this happened in 1995. So this was around the time when they were the Braxtons, right? Meaning Tony, Trina, Tamar. And Tony Braxton was already Tony Braxton at that point. And Tracy, you know, she was in Maryland. I think she was pregnant or just had Kevin Jr. But anyway, so yeah. So Tamar, is it true that you did sleep with Tony's man back in the day? Because she was like, yeah, you brought this up. This happened in 1995. So is it true or not? It don't matter. It doesn't make Tawanda less guilty. But is it true or not? I mean, if you're gonna tell it, you might as well tell it all. Damn near cried when I got that phone call. I'm so gone. I don't know what to do but to give you part 2 of this review. Now, did y'all like that? So anyway, that was just a mess. They got into it, child. Let me see. Tony got mad, looked at the camera directly. It said, mental illness is real. Mental illness is real. Tamar was just like, "Show Liz, but y'all not gonna make me feel bad about my mental health journey and stuff from dealing with y'all." She was like, "I'm on," what she say, Lexapro and all kind of things. Best thing I ever did in my life. And she said, "But all 3 of y'all need to try it." And get into it, baby. Tamar was reading down. Tamar started singing. She looked over at Tawanda and them and was like, "Yeah, this is a Grammy voice." When she was just like, she don't care. When Tony was like, "You're going to feel bad about this later on." And Tamar does have a record of doing stuff like this and feeling bad about it and crying about it later on. We've seen it when she was on Nene Leakes show, when she talked about Lonnie Love, called her Big Bad Cadillac, and then went on to BET and apologized for it. We saw recently the whole situation with Funky Dineva and Mendices and the video drop and her having the accident and all that, and then her apologizing it on stage. So, I mean, this is probably just another situation. But I think in this situation, more than the other ones, Tamar is definitely in the right. And how she acts is just, it's frustration. It's years of frustration and just gaslighting and all that. She's yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot that Tamar has went through. However, what Tamar needs to get is there is a group of people that's never going to be on her side because of how she expresses herself. Not saying it's right, not saying it's okay, Whitney Houston, but there is a group of people that are just going to be like, you know, look how she acts and look how the other ones is acting. I'm just saying, but she was definitely turned up. Tony brings up the fact that she has a publicist, and her publicist, as a favor to her, I'm sure, looks out for her sisters. Whenever her sister's in any kind of scandal, any kind of drama, she checks on that and makes sure that they're good. And Tamar, in a very high octave, which I can't do, she was just like, "Girl, I don't need your publicist. I got my own." Saying that she has her own publicist and stuff. And she was just like, "I don't need it." But I'm sure Tony Braxton being Tony Braxton and her sisters being an extension of her, she's going to make sure that her sisters, whether they know it or not, she's going to make sure that her sisters look good in front of the public as much as she possibly can. And she said something very interesting. Tony Braxton said, It's disappointing to me that it seems like Tamar is more interested in being infamous versus famous. I said, now that's a word. That is a word. However, Tony, you do stuff too, and you hide your rock and cover your hands. There's when you're dealing with big families, siblings in particular, this one talk to this one talk about this one to this one. You know, it's all of that going on. And what we're seeing is just coming out on camera. This happens every single day in regular families, right? And the Braxtons is just a family that's famous. But it's the same thing. You know, this sibling don't fool with this sibling talk crap about this sibling. They all love each other, but I don't really like you like that. And that's kind of what the situation is. Also a mix of insecurities, a mix of jealousy, a mix of resentment, just a mix of stuff. Let me see. So then Tamar was just like, so what, you think I slept with Birdman too? That's when Tony turned up, and that's when Tony got sensitive and had something to say. That's when Tony stood up over Tamar with that little finger, and Big Trina got up, and she got in between Tamar and Tony, and then Tamar pushed Trina out the way. Trina's trying to talk to Tony to calm her down. You're famous, you're wonderful, you're classy, you're amazing. You're famous, you're wonderful, you're classy, you're amazing. And then all of a sudden, we see Trina's head go back like that. Trina's head go back like that. And it was Tamar who tried to pull Trina's wig off. We've seen Trina without a wig before with that mug shot back in the day. And then apparently she kicks Trina as well. I say, now Tamar, you showing out now. Tawanda's hugging Tony, talking about, oh, you're too classy for this, and let's press charges. Tawanda, sit down, Baldine. Sit down. It gets crazy. Tony leaves. She says, this Tawanda and Trina say, I feel bad for you, talking about Tamar. Tamar said, well, I feel bad for y'all too. And this H.O. talking about Tawanda gonna lie, talking about I slept with my sister's man and stuff. And I swear on your kids. Now, Tamar, you was wrong for that, girl. Them your niece and nephew, girl. Tawanda was acting like she was gonna get up. It was people holding them back. It was just a mess. It was a mess and it was awful. Needless to say, obviously, Tamar is not going to be a part of Tawanda's wedding. Let's just get to the Tawanda thing. She had a Bridgerton themed bridal shower. Tony called Tawanda to tell her that she won't be coming. Now, Tawanda did these teas. Tony did not come to Mexico to celebrate Tawanda, bachelorette, right? She was supposed to come to the bridal shower situation. She ain't coming to that. And Tony's also not going to make the wedding rehearsal. Tony's excuse now for not coming is the fact that she has to rework her whole show in Miami. Tony shared background singers and stage producers, whatever, with Angie Stone, who passed away. We love Angie Stone. And I didn't know that they had like a connection in that way. But anyway, because they were working with Angie at the time, and they were people who were affected. And I think also in the accident with Angie, even though Angie was the only one that passed, I believe. So half of Tony's crew was there. So they have to recover and deal with, you know, everything pertaining to that. So Tony has to rework her show because there's less people dealing with that, right? But it doesn't matter. Tony don't never show up for them. Let's be honest. And a part of Tawanda's frustration and irritation is Tony Braxton. Tawanda has been there for Tony Braxton. We've seen that Tawanda has sacrificed a lot for Tony Braxton. And I'm not saying that Tony hasn't sacrificed a lot for her sisters. Obviously she has. But it must be a hurting feeling for your wedding, and then your main sister, the one that you look up to the most, can't ever be there for you in any way, shape, or form. And so it's disappointing. Because Tawanda loves Tony. I can tell that. And it's unfortunate. But that's Tony Braxton. Regardless of her illnesses and all this stuff, Tony's selfish. Tony is about Tony. What do you do? And that's probably why Tawanda took Tamar's money, allegedly, because she was just like, you know what? I'm so sick of y'all. So I'm going to scrap this pocketbook real quick. Not making it right, but in my mind, that's what she was given. What else is going on? Tony don't bring nothing to the show, if we're being honest. If we're being honest, everything is the illness, the illness, the illness. I get it, girl. I'm sick too. We all sick, ho. But the show is not going to work without Tony or Tamar. They are the stars of the Braxtons, so I get why they're there, but whatever. Obviously, Tamar brings more than Tony, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to do too much on Toni Braxton, Living Legend, because I love all her music. Okay. OG, which is the messy producer, he ends up talking to Tamar, and Tamar was just like, well, I don't know how everything got crazy. It was just so much anger, so much whatever. Like I said before, Tamar is right in how she feels. Her delivery is always the issue, but when you're mad, whatever, I get it. I turn up too, probably worse than Tamar. You know, what was I going to say? But as far as with the Ashley thing, Tamar said that she had a conversation with Tony, and they both agreed, apparently they were both upset, and they both agreed that Ashley should somehow be a part of the Braxtons. Toni admitted to having that conversation, but she said she didn't know that Tamar was going to reach out to Ashley and go on ahead and do it like that. I think that was a conversation just between them two, and Toni didn't want Tamar to take it to that level to be to go against the other sisters, right? Because they all talk about each other. I'm sure Toni talked trash about Tamar with Tawanda and Trina, and vice versa. You know, that's just siblings. So she didn't know that Tamar was taking it literally. I think Tamar has good intentions with doing what she did for Ashley, but she also had her own motives. Absolutely, 1000% had her own motives. And I doubt if Ashley is close to her aunts now after everything. I doubt if anything has changed. It probably ain't, unfortunately. So we're just praying for Ashley. More than anybody, I'm praying for Ashley. Because these sisters is always going to be a mess. And that was pretty much the episode. It was a great episode, to be honest. It was a great episode. The thing with family, and I'm going to end on this, is that at some point you always come back together. At some point. So I just hope that this situation is repairable at the end of the day. This is our entertainment. We're not in it. Some of us have no idea what you're going through, Braxtons. But I just hope that y'all can at some point come together for real. Because once all the cameras go down and all the lights shut out, y'all still family at the end of the day. You got to do the work. With that said, I'm Mrchalaki. Mrchalaki on Google+. Follow me at Skins on Instagram and Twitter. At Skins89 on Snapchat. Chisking on Facebook. Mrchalaki on Cash App, PayPal, TikTok. And as always, run me my money, earn me my fade. Run me my money the way I get paid. Stay black, stay tuned. And I'll see you guys later for more reviews. Bye.